The international diplomatic push to end the war in Ukraine is intensifying, marked by complex negotiation between American-led initiatives and European efforts. To secure a deal, U.S. President Donald Trump has engaged directly with the leaders of Germany, Britain, and France, urging a resolution to the conflict. In these discussions, President Trump emphasized that Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky must be realistic about his position, signaling that territorial concessions would likely be part of any U.S. brokered peace plan. This stance has created friction, as leaders from Germany, Britain, and France recently met with President Zelensky to craft an alternative proposal, viewing the initial U.S. framework as too differential to Russian demands. European leaders are navigating a delicate balance between supporting Ukraine and managing a shifting transatlantic relationship. Germany Chancellor Friedrich Merz, alongside NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, has stressed that only Ukraine can decide its territorial future, while accusing Russia President Vladimir Putin of prolonging a brutal war. At the same time, there is a growing recognition in European capitals of the need for greater self-reliance in defense, a point underscored by the new U.S. national security strategy, which calls for Europe to take primary responsibility for its own security. This shift comes as Europe works to fundamentally cut its energy ties with Russia. The European Union has just reached a provisional agreement on a legally binding plan to phase out all imports of Russian natural gas by 2027. Britain has positioned itself as a key European power ready to enforce any potential peace agreement. UK Defense Secretary John Healey has stated that Britain is prepared to do the heavy lifting in Europe if President Trump secures a ceasefire. He revealed that for the past 6 months, a coalition of over 30 nations organized by London has been planning for this scenario, with troops, planes, and ships on standby to deploy. The exact nature of such a deployment, whether it would involve peacekeeping inside Ukraine or remain on NATO territory, is a central point of discussion. But Mr. Healey's comments offer one of the clear signals yet that Britain expects to play a central role in any post-war security arrangement. Parallel to the diplomatic efforts, Ukraine has dramatically escalated a separate campaign to cripple Russia's financial ability to wage war by systematically attacking its energy infrastructure. Since August, the pace and scope of these long-range drone strikes have increased significantly, targeting refineries, export terminals, pipelines, and even a major offshore oil platform in the Caspian Sea for the first time. Ukrainian officials describe these as long-range sanctions aimed at cutting off the revenue that funds Russia's war machine. This strategy has received growing support from Western allies, with a source from Ukraine's drone program confirming that the U.S. remains an active partner and European allies have stepped up their involvement. The economic pressure on Russia is multifaceted, combining Ukraine's physical attacks on infrastructure with international sanctions. According to a monthly analysis, Russia's fossil fuel export revenue in November fell to their lowest daily level since the full-scale invasion began. Notably, the United States imposed full blocking sanctions on Russia's two largest oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, in October. However, Russia continues to export its oil largely via a shadow fleet of tankers that obscure the movements, with 65% of Russian crude in November transported by sanctions tankers. The European Union, while working to end Russian gas import, remains the largest buyer of Russian liquefied natural gas, LNG, highlighting the ongoing challenges of energy decoupling. The path to peace remains fraught with major obstacles. Central point of contention is territory, with Ukraine declaring the Donbas region a non-negotiable red line, while Russia insists occupied territories are permanently part of its federation. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjarto has controversially claimed the war could have ended already if European leaders had not undermined President Trump's peace effort, illustrating deep divisions within Europe itself. As negotiations continue, the combinations of military pressure on the battlefield, economic pressure on Russia's energy sectors, and complex diplomatic maneuvering will determine whether a sustainable ceasefire can be achieved. If you haven't made it this far, congratulations. You have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question. The reporting shows a clear split. The US, is pushing Ukraine to be realistic and make concessions for peace, while key European allies insist Ukraine alone must decide its future. In your view, which approach, pragmatic pressure for a faster deal or principled support for Ukraine's sovereignty, is more likely to achieve a lasting and stable peace, and why? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate your support. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Like the video, share this video with friends and family, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.